Assalamu alaikum. How are you, everyone? This is Contemporary Understanding the Quran, and I'm Marwan Brad, your host. And last episode, we read Surah Baqara until verse number 16. And it ended talking about the kind of non-believers, how they, they play around with the covenant they agreed, let's say, with their God, etc., and the way they were acting, playing double standard. So we continue with verse number 17, talking about them as well, continuing. It says, first I read the Arabic, as you know, and then the English translation and some explanation. Okay, so مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا. Their example is like the example of one who kindles a fire. So clear, really, simple phrase. فَلَمَّا أَضَاءَتْ مَا حَوْلَهُ, when it had illuminated round about him, ذَهَبَ اللَّهُ بِنُورِهِمْ وَتَرَكَهُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتٍ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. God takes away their light and leaves them in darkness. They do not see. Okay, I'm going to simplify and brief the whole meaning. So the way they were behaving, those, let's say, non-believers, it's a straight word. It's like someone who lights a fire, okay, and it played around him, okay, but when it goes off, lost again, in a sense, lost again. But here the word, I mean, the interference is somehow from God, meaning there was a reason that this fire would not last forever. Of course, it will last for some time, and when it darkens around them, when the fire is put off somehow, and let's say that God, with the universal laws, with the natural laws that He implemented in this whole world, in His creation, then the fire must, be put off somehow. So at that particular moment, okay, they became lost again. They could not see, and now God adds something to saying that they are summun, deaf, bukmun, dumb, umyun, blind, which means those three very important senses, they kind of do not have those people, in the sense that they don't understand, they don't have reason enough to understand, and so on. فَهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ, they will not return. That's why they cannot be back into their normal and ordinary state of mind or state of everything. How goes on in giving the example of how they are, how they look like, how they behave, etc. أو كصيب من السماء فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق, or like a thunder cloud from the sky wherein is darkness, thunder and lightning. Another example, the first example was like the one who kindles the fire, and then the fire goes off, and then they become lost somewhere, somehow, etc. Or another example is like a thundercloud. You know, when it becomes too cold and the clouds become so thick, and thunder and lightning and all this stuff would be the order. Then, as well as too much darkness, you know, except when it lightened with the lightning. So it's something like this, which means on and off, if you want, in the sense on and off, but with the thunder cloud, that thunder, even the sound of it. يجعلون أصابعهم في آذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت. They thrust their fingers in their ears against the thunderbolts for fear of death. And we know for sure that thunderbolts sometimes they can cause death, especially if it hits directly or too close, hitting someone. So, out of fear of death, they did put their fingers in their ears so they don't hear that sound, which will have an impact on their head, on their ears, on their everything, and they fear that they would die because of this. Wallahu muhitun bil kafirin. But God encompasses those who spurn guidance while claiming virtue. Now, God called them spurn guidance while claiming virtue. Make believe that they are good guys. This is what it means. So those people, God encompasses them. He can actually not contain them in the sense of containing, but he can have control on them. That's what it means. يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم. The example continues in the sense that those thunderbolts and thunder and lightning, the lightning night snatches away their sight. It's like if that lightning is going to take away the power of seeing, the sight, how may I say, the faculty of their eyes. كلما أضاء لهم مشوا فيه. Whenever it gives them light, they walk therein. Which means whenever the thunder lighten, okay, oh, they can see, so they walk. They take a step or two or whatever. وَإِذَا أَظْلَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ قَامُوا. And when it darkens against them, they stand. Which means when it goes off, so they stand. They stand still. Means they don't want to keep on walking or stepping in any direction in fear of falling or something. Okay? وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ وَأَبْصَارِهِمْ. And had God willed, He would have taken away their hearing and their sight. Should God be willing to do them something wrong right now in that particular moment, He could have taken away their hearing and their seeing, their sight, which means He could have made them completely lost and blind and okay. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. God is powerful over all things. God can really do everything, anything. Now, we finished from that example about those who, play around with believing or with the message or with, whatever God called it, guidance. Now God will address the ordinary people, or all the people. He said, يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم. O mankind, serve your Lord who created you. Which means this is a call from God to his creatures, living creatures, us, mankind. Okay? Serve your Lord. The word serve here is serve in worshiping. Actually, worship your God. That's what it means. Who created you? Your God who created you. Without him, you are nothing. Who created you? وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. And those before you. الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم. Yani who created you and created those before you, which means other people, other tribes, other places, and so on. So worship your God who created you and who created people like you before. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That you might be in prudent fear. If you worship your God, that's the conditional thing. If you worship your God, then you may be safe, or you will be saved. That you might be in prudent fear, which means in fear of God, with this prudence, then you will win. That's what it means. الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا. Who made the earth for you a carpet. Now, the earth, God created the earth and submitted almost all other creations to the benefit of mankind, in the sense that mankind benefit out of it, produce whatever he needs, he or she, of course, and then build upon and build and develop this earth to make it what it is like today, in the sense to understand the picture. So, who made the earth for you a carpet, which means a place for you to rest, to work and rest, to go, to stand and sit and down and blah and eat and plant and all the movement that we do in life. وَالسَّمَاءَ بِنَاءً. And the sky is structure. So the earth is a carpet and the sky is a structure. What do I mean by structure? It means like a huge house, and that has, of course, ceiling and beams and structure. It's a complete thing whereby you live and have everything you need. So you should be thankful to your God. وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. And sent down from the sky water. We know that is the rain with which the plants will grow and the rivers will flow and and the wells will be filled, something like this, and then you can people would use directly that that water from the sky, like to drink and use for their needs and etc. And the next verse it explains to us kind of this. فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم. Then brought forth thereby some fruits as provision for you. With this water, the rain coming down, of course, it brings, all the trees to a certain state whereby it will be productive in the way the trees can give fruit, the plants can give vegetables, edible, used in man's life, in man's needs, and nutrition, and etc. فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا. So make not equals to God. It means don't be mistaken. There's only one God, the God who created you, who provided all this for you. So don't be mistaken and say or think there's an equal God beside this God. There's only one God, the God, Allah, the one who created us, created the universe, created everything. This is what we should have in mind. And وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, which means this is something, we feel we know, and we know in the sense that we are kind of, sure with the heart and mind. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا. And if you be in doubt about what we have sent down upon our servant. Now, our servant here means Muhammad. The verse is addressed to us in the sense that if you are not sure and if you have any doubt, about what we revealed to Muhammad, this is what exactly means. The next verse in Arabic it says, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. Then bring a surah the like thereof. Which means, if you think this is not coming from God, the thing that is revealed to Muhammad, that is the verses of the Quran, of the noble book, etc., the message in brief, if you think this is not from God, then bring one surah. One surah is multiple verse, One surah kind of similar in the context and the sense and the structure and everything, وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And call your witnesses other than God if you be truthful. Which means seek help anywhere you want. Let anybody help you to bring one surah the like of the Quran if you really don't think that this was revealed to Muhammad by God. Bring in one. Let anybody help you to get to, to prove that your point or something. It's some kind of a challenge, but the challenge is not really to be taken seriously. God does not really need challenge, but just putting the point on the letter in the sense that this is the truth. This was revealed from God by Archangel Gabriel, as we know. So if you are truthful, bring in one surah. Yalla. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. But if you do not, وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. And you will not. You see the how may I say? The point of the challenge is that you think you can, but you cannot. Okay? It's a fact, showing them the fact. And the fact was really and is exactly this. They tried and they challenged and they never succeeded. Why? Because I mean, you can compose a phrase or a text or something that has some sense, but it won't have the contextual sense of a creator who put everything in front of us and say, hey, this is what I did. Absolutely no one can do that because there's only one God. So, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا, but if you do not and you will not, okay, the challenge is going like bigger, then be in prudent fear of the fire. فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ. So be careful and get away from hell, from the fire, the hellfire, it means. Okay, be prudent of the fire. It means protect yourself from fire. Okay, that hellfire, التي وقودها الناس والحجارة. فاتقوا النار التي وقودها الناس والحجارة. This hellfire, okay, whose fuel is men and stones. You know, any fire you need something to light up, and like wood or charcoal or let's say natural gas or petrol or something. So this hellfire, the fuel of it is man and stones. Stones to keep it, keep it as a hellfire, and man, those that are non-believers who will be burned in fire because of their because of their bad deeds, because of their lies, because they refused the truth, because they rejected the message, they rejected to be guided, and so on. So this hellfire, أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, prepared for those who spurn guidance while claiming virtue. Okay, so this hellfire actually is set for, let's say, non-believers in brief, but actually they have multiple characters, like they lie, they reject, they oppress, they they deny, all those negative attitude towards the message. So those people are the one who are going to burn in hell. Okay, وَعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, especially those who play double standard. Oh yeah, we believe, and then whatever they do is contrary to what they say. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So this is, we're done now. Let's say non-believers. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and bear thou glad tidings to those who heed warning. Okay. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, the believers, tell them or give them some good news. That's what it means. And tell those believers the good news, which is after one verse, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do deeds of righteousness. So those who believe and do deeds of righteousness, okay, the good guys in brief, بَشِّرْهُمْ, okay, أَنَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ, that they have gardens beneath which rivers flow. So those believers, you tell them the good news. They will have gardens and rivers flowing underneath, and all the graciousness that they would ask for. أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار, that beneath which rivers flow. كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل. As often as they are provided with the fruit thereof, they say, this is what was given us as provision before. Meaning, once in heaven, in garden that is, in the Garden of Eden, how we call, they have everything, all kinds of fruit, provision, anything they want. So when they see all this, they say, this we had before on earth. That's what they mean. We had before on earth. Of course, it means it's a continuation, and they loved it on earth, and it's a continuation of their, fulfilling their, wishes and pleasures, and when it comes to eating and fruits and so on. So they say, this is we had before. Oh, that's nice, that's good. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا, and they are given thereby a likeness. That's what it means. They've seen it before. We've eaten it before, and we know it, and so on. أُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا, it's the like of what we knew on earth. وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ, and they have therein purified spouses. Well, okay, this is like a fairy tale. We don't want to go deep in it, but of course, as in heaven or in hell, there will be male and female, who will suffer there and, be cheered up in paradise. It means that for men, it's kind of a good tiding that they will have purified spouses, beautiful spouses, young spouses, something like this. It's something to tease and to solicit, if you want, the person to, run in this direction, to believe and to be guided, and then expect rewarding and so on. وَهُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ, and they abide therein eternally, and they will be there forever after. The life will never end for them in this, in this context of having everything they want and so on. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحْيِي. That's it. The example of those before non-believers, now to the believers, is kind of it ends. Now, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحِي أَنْ يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةً فَمَا فَوْقَهَا. God is not ashamed to present an example, be it of a gnat or what is above it. Okay. This is a famous verse in the sense that now God is giving us the example of a mosquito. The mosquito, gnat. Mr. Garen put the word gnat in it, and I know why, because mosquito is very common word. You want to give it special. It's the same meaning, of course, but it's a little bit different and special because it is really special. Why God is giving this example? It's so small an insect or a creature or something, yet God is giving it as an example. Why? Because there's too much in it. What is that too much in it? Go ahead and find out about mosquitoes, how they are produced, how they live, where, and all this, plus the characteristic, mainly the characteristic of the mosquitoes, which has 6 needles, and when it comes to stick in the skin of, you know, you or me or someone, it kind of anesthetized slightly, so you don't feel for a second, you don't feel anything. So this is really some, I would say, scientific aspect, which is, but I'm not going to say that this is science and blah, blah, blah. It's just an indication. It's a notion. It's a sign. It's a sign, S-I-G-N, okay, that we, human beings, scientists, or ordinary people, have to learn and find out. And of course, this is what we did, and we found out that it's some extraordinary feature. And this is why God gave it as an example to tell us, and even if it's too small, there is too much in it. So, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and out of this example, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, then as for those who heed warning, those who believe in God, believe in the message, believe in the guidance and everything, okay? فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. They know that this is the truth, in the sense that this is something big, this is something useful, this is something, you know, it's not in vain, actually. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. Then as for those who heed warning, they know that it is the truth from their Lord. Because of what I just said about the mosquitoes, okay? But if we don't consider this, then, oh, what is a mosquito? And this is what the other group of people, the non-believer, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, it comes in the next verse. And as for those who are indifferent to warning, they don't care about the guidance, they don't care about the message, they don't care even about the warning that is directed to them. Hey, you people, we want you to go to paradise, we don't want you to go to hell, so please listen to this and think about it, and so on. So they don't want even to listen. So they say, what means God by this example? What does God want out of this example? Hey, it's only a mosquito, and so on. So you understand the point now? I hope so. يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا. So with this example, surely some people are misguided because of their carelessness, because of their misconception, misunderstanding, misinterpretation of things. So this is how some people will be, you know, misguided, in the sense they led themselves to be misguided. He leads astray many thereby. By this kind of example, okay, God, in the sense of the way he implemented the laws of the nature, the laws of, you know, the universe, he lets some people go astray, not on purpose. Don't get me wrong, and don't understand it. This is the whole idea of understanding contemporarily, understanding logically, reasonably the Quran. God will not take someone from one point to the other. God gave us the freedom of choice, and we decide. And he lets us decide, and he let our decision be completed by our action, and then we get to what we get out of our own option. So he leads astray many thereby, وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا, and he guides many thereby. You know, the opposite. Those who decide this or that, they will get here or there accordingly. وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ. So, and he leads astray thereby only the wantonly perfidious. And he explains to us who is going to be misguided by this. only the perfidious, those who have, you know, bad intention, those who have bad thinking, those who have, you know, who care less about good things, and so on. I mean, you can give, you can go on and on with this, but it should be understood that those who want to be guided are one group. Those who don't want to be guided, absolutely, it's a choice here and a choice there. Those who are misguided, الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه. Those who declared null the pledge of God after its agreement. Remember, in the beginning I told you, those who said, oh, we will believe, oh, we will be, oh, we will be, and then they retreat, or then they deny all this, and they forget about, and they think they see that maybe they have more benefit elsewhere, and blah blah, and they get, you know, confused and lost and all this stuff. Okay, so they break the deal they had with their God. وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَنْ يُوصَلَ, and severe what God commanded thereby to be joined, which means even they kind of you know, obstruct or how may I say, or disturb the message of God and the messenger, in the sense preventing the message and the messenger to get to where it's supposed to. وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and create corruption in the earth. And this is how actually they corrupt. When they do bad things like this and prevent people from getting benefit out of this or that, whether guidance or whether material thing or something, it means they do corruption. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. These are the losers. God say that these are the losers. And of course they are the losers, as we know the example everywhere. People, I'm going to put it in terms altogether like criminals. Criminals are always either in prison or shot by the police or chased by, you know, police and people and blah, blah, and even rejected from the society and so on. So they are definitely losers. كيف تكفرون بالله? God tell them now. How will you deny God? How? Why? In the sense, why you deny God? كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا? Give you the proof that you should not. وكنتم أمواتا, when you were dead, before you were born. Okay? That means before you were born. فأحياكم, He gave you life. You know, man and woman, and then the multiplication and so on. So you came to life. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ. Then will He give you death. You know, we're all gonna die, and we die, you know, generation after the other. ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ. Then will He give you life, which is the basis, okay, of, let's say, life from 0 to 100. Let's put it on a scale of 0 to 100. So we were there. We weren't there. We were dead, kind of. We weren't there. Then we came to life. Then we died. Then we were reborn in the sense of resurrected. Okay? This is what the phase is. ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Then to Him will you be returned. Which means when we are resurrected, of course we will be faced to God, and that was the judgment. That is the judgment day that some people do believe in is going to happen. Some people don't, and then accordingly, you know, consequences will occur. So we stop at this point, and I hope that you really enjoyed, understood, and listen carefully to this much of verses, which is not, I think we exceeded a little bit, half an hour, but it's okay, it can happen. So thank you for your listening, and see you tomorrow, inshallah.